back to Walking in Shadow. It's Jason. How's everybody doing? I know it's been a minute. Just working a lot and whatever, blah blah, same old crap. But as I've said before about gaps in time, I always post on the present. And it is the present now, and here I am. Today's video is called The Blueprint. This is the first time, not the first time, I've talked about my starseed origins in other parts. It's in the title. But some of my more recent transmissions and, I don't know what to call them, like gentle pushes in a way, have been leading me more to gravitate to others like myself. And it's important, those of you invested that have been here for a while, maybe you don't even know this about me, is that Starseeds are, I actually wrote a big thing about it. I'm a much better writer than speaker, obviously. I don't have a whole lot of pauses and tangents. Everything's pretty much concise. So I should probably write something versus have videos. But I just like to do it this way. But this is what I wrote today about it. We may differ in definition about what starseeds are. Some people would just believe, hey, we're all starseeds because we're all made out of the same stuff that the rest of the galaxies and ultimately universe is made out of. So we're starseeds that way. The starseeds that I'm talking about is pretty specific. And I imagine that some members of my audience also identify in such a way. I certainly would hope so, because my primary incarnation wanted me to put the symbol, my symbol, up on the title cards, whatnot, so that it would even subconsciously draw other starseeds in, so nevertheless, your definition of it is fine, because you're you, I'm me, so we just have our definitions. Considering this is my channel and this is me, I want to tell you more about my belief in it. I was going to read what I wrote here because it makes a lot more sense. So, starseeds are humans, and we are humans. We can't be watching these videos and living our lives or whatever without identifying as human. At least I don't know any like pure blood aliens chilling. They probably wouldn't tell me if they were. But now we're all humans. The human, the Earth's body as it is now after many millennia of conditioning, both societal, cultural, even physical, biological conditioning through foods. But that's something else. We're not going to that tangent. We are humans, though, from Earth. And it's just that we're humans that have become consciously aware of their origins outside of Earth. Just like past lives, past human lives, or future human lives. So yes, it does contain reincarnation. So that is, this isn't like a checklist of whether you can believe it or not. This is just the system that I know that was given to me through, I guess they would call it, they call it like Satori, just instant lightning flash enlightenment. That's like a after flash of a camera or something, but it's like burned into your brain. Uh, so, for instance, my what I am aware of anyway is that prior to the many lives I've lived on Earth, before that, I had incarnated in Andromeda once. Once I was a Lyran hybrid, and Lyra is a star in the Taurus constellation, in between the Orion's belt and the Pleiades. Um, that's the star anyway, Lyra. A lot of heavy stuff happened back in the day, back in the way day. But again, we're not going to get to that right now today. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as I can while still being transparent about my elaborate faith, I guess we'll call it. Nevertheless, the idea I thought of though was like the Olympic torch. Okay, because that's something everybody's fairly familiar with. So when they do the Olympic torch ceremony and they're carrying the torch, they light it, and the torch, as they're running it, different honorary people, usually based on the geographical area in which the torch is passing through, they take turns and they're passing it like a baton, where ultimately it goes to the big torch and gets put in there. So the analogy that I'm using with the Olympic torch is that the different people passing the torch are like our material lifetimes here on Earth, or whatever time they were, okay? And then the flame of the torch itself is your actual original self or template or blueprint that has been, transitioning back and forth between Earth and wherever they're at, or whenever, or whatever. And then the torch itself is the actual blueprint, because at least how I believe it, and a lot of other people who believe in starseeds believe it this way, but we can all only agree or disagree, but there's no rule book saying no, it is this way or it isn't this way. But it's a thing that we all just generally know. Whatever audit period goes on after human mortality or death, when you go on, and this is people again that are conscious about it and want to continue in their learning process, because they came to Earth, we came to Earth. Initially, it's like an honors program or something to come to Earth, because there's really nowhere else like it in the universe. Sort of like in the way that the Avatar movie works or something, so it's just very real, the individual programs or lifetimes that you can just totally, VR yourself right into it, literally. But we decide in between, like, do we want to continue on with the Earth School, or do we want to go somewhere else? I will say that there is unfortunately a trap kind of that's set by, I don't want to sound like a total theorist, but it, it's just set up already to recycle souls and keep them on Earth, which, you know, a lot of people are destined to stay on Earth, and not as a bad thing. Like they totally choose to. But again, unfortunately, there's just a lot of history that can't be found in a book. Okay, so if you're also Starseed and know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't, I'm doing the best I can while still trying to stay inside the video, while still trying to stick to the point of the blueprint or template. Nevertheless, so what happens is, to the best of my knowledge, I mean, I can only know what I know, is that once we've decided in what ways we were successful in our missions, in what ways we could do better, at that point, it's, you know, you should return and try it again with a different setup, and that setup is the blueprint that I'm talking about. Because while there's a basic template for humans or humanity, there are other things like, say, astrologically speaking, if you know about, like I know the day, the time of day, it was night actually, like I was born in Seaford, Delaware on September the 6th, 1975. It was a Saturday night. It was 10:37 p.m. at Nanticoke Memorial Hospital in Seaford, Delaware. And I know that there was a waning crescent moon, and the moon was in Libra, because that is where my moon is. And knowing that is part of the template, you know, you at least can decide. So like whatever your signs are and whatever your astrological makeup is, you knew about it because you planned it that way for whatever phase it is of your training here on Earth this time around. Now, does that mean that me, Jason, that I am irrelevant? Not at all, because just as all the other lifetimes or incarnations or aspects of myself existed and still exist literally simultaneously in the time-space continuum, or space-time continuum, you know, I am just as important. Am I the most important? I don't know, because I can't see it all at once. You know, it's too wide a perspective for my little human brain. But nevertheless, the idea of the blueprint, though, is that we create it before we come here. So, like, if you use astrology or guides or whatever you use to find out about who you are, it's a good idea to sort of see what all of those things are and all of those things about you are, and see how they all fit together and what they could be pointing toward. Because obviously we know that because we go into a new human body and inhabit it, that, you know, our memory's wiped until it's not. And with the amount of indigos and rainbow children being born, maybe that's going to be a much easier transition. But for a long time, it was, you just went in and just hoped that the data took and it uploaded eventually, and that in the meantime that your avatar, being you in whatever life or this life or whatever, is going in a path that is going to be helpful to activate it. Okay. So what do we do with this knowledge we know about the blueprint? I can tell you that a little monster for some pep in my step, so I'll go on a total tangent. The message that I was given to transmit is, it's not like a sentence or words that I can just say, well, this is the message, I'm going to say it, thank you and good night. That'd be a lot easier sometimes, but I need to make sure that it gets across in the way that it was given to me. Let me just... Okay. Basically, the idea is that if you don't know what your mission is as a starseed, or your mission as a human, or whatever, by taking the template, which is basic human biology and things like that nature. Now, if you were born with certain issues, birth defects or whatever, also not accidental, that again, that's staying in the vein of my belief system, because that's the only thing I can talk from. But the blueprint is there for you to learn about. Now, even the knowledge of that there is a blueprint or a template to your existence, that knowledge of itself is enough in some cases to crack somebody open and awaken them, just to be aware that there is a basic template, the basic human template, and then the societal, cultural template that, because of the life or family you were born into, the energetic pattern template being the cosmology and the astrology parts of your birth, number vibrations, in your name. You look up all the number things. These things, if you take all of those things and say, okay, well, these are all the parts that I came with. Okay, but this is me now, and I got all of the extra stuff. Where did that come from? Is it part of the original template, or did I just make it up somewhere along the way to cope, or to whatever, to make it nice, as Dorinda Medley might say. It's becoming an important time. I can't say why, not because it's a secret and I can't tell you, but it's just, I can't tell you. It's not in like a word format or even a visual format. It's just knowledge that is given. But it's going to become more and more important that And I don't only mean starseeds. There are a lot of them. I'm talking about millions, but in a planet of billions. So, you know. But nevertheless, most of us are kind of spaced out because that way that's part of the template too, is where we're placed, because we're placed in places where, you know, it's all going according to plan, but we still have free will, of course. Really not trying to get on a tangent. I'm just trying to explain and still keep it as simple as I can, but also sort of let you into my world and my belief system, which I would imagine you might be interested in, where all this stuff comes from. But I mean, it's a start. So, you know, what I'm hoping for is that people who say don't know their mission or don't know what it is, or have no real direction about it, start with that template. Start with, okay, this is me. This is all of my astrological, numerological patterns. Watch those patterns, because learning the patterns and having them become second nature to you makes it where you can see. It's sort of like going fishing and then putting on some like the glare blocking glasses where you can now see in the water and see the fish. It's like that, you know. I mean, normally you would just be able to see some splashes or little bubbles or something and have an idea about where to cast, unless you're using your intuition and just throw it where the fish are. But nevertheless, having the extra sight of the template and the parts of you that are you and the parts of you that are not you, and being able to tell those apart, gives you those glare blocking glasses where you can see the fish in the water. You know, sort of wacky analogy, but it fits. I'd like either on the comments in the channel or on the Facebook page to hear more about if you're a starseed, or if you are interested in hearing more about that, or hearing more about whatever, you know, because otherwise I'm just transmitting knowledge as I receive it. I need a time period in order to absorb and internally order that information, and then be able to give it back in a user-friendly way. Even as low-tech as I am, it's a damn sight better than going to everybody's house individually. And some of y'all live in other countries or wherever you do, it'd be very difficult. But we get some shit done. We get it done, buddy. So, focusing on the channel with the shamanism, shadow work, and starseeds. This is, of course, part of the starseed part. But I'm going to delve in, and I've had some comments about maybe I talk at like people are like, you know, come to Walking in Shadow 101 and I'm teaching at 301 or something. Well, I want to make it simpler, or maybe make videos that are more basic, but you know, it just doesn't really work for me, because that's why I've only had like 2 students ever, because I learned things a specific way. It was the warrior's way, and it ain't for everybody, you know. I mean, Some people can't hang. I mean, that's just all there is to it. It's not I'm not saying that statement out of derision or, you know, I'm up here, you're down there. It's just a fact. I mean, a lot of people want to really delve into the darkness, but not really, because they're scared of it, which only feeds it. More videos coming on that. Anyway, the point being, I hope that you understand what I was trying to get at about the template. Even if you don't believe in that, or believe in the starseed thing, or whatever, it's still true that it's a good tool to discover all of your, you know, different things like astrology or numerology or whatever, all your palms or whatever, you know, to discover what kind of person you are through that. Then you can take all of those things and subtract them from who you are. What is left over and either new qualities or more refined qualities of the qualities that already existed, or they're just extra and need to go, you know? But that's the best way to find that out. Just to separate them. The parts you know are you, the template, the blueprint, and whatever all this crap is over here. This is very important. This is what's either pushing you forward or holding you back. But it's not the template. It's other stuff. We'll investigate this other stuff soon, probably in the next couple videos. Talk about some shadow work, some other things that need to be talked about. But if you're not aware of Starseeds, I hope that this has informed you a little bit. I know I didn't go into a big, long background about Starseeds because it really is long. I mean, even if you just consider when the term was coined in like the, I think, early 70s or something, the actual term. From then to now, you know, 50 years later, I mean, there's been a lot of research into it, and we haven't even scratched the surface. But the idea is that we will, and by increasing our vibrational frequencies, we will hook into others and raise theirs, even unconsciously or subconsciously, raise their vibrational frequency, which will, you know, like a domino effect, you know, awaken people. That's the goal. It ain't everybody, though. But if you're watching these videos, there's a great chance that you are, if not a starseed, you are an old soul or awakened, because the stuff I talk about is very normal to us. And if it's difficult, just follow along as best you can and leave questions or comments, and I'll be happy to expand on whatever. But I generally don't get any comments, so I'm like, okay, well, doing great then. I'll just keep on doing whatever, because I'm not having any feedback. It's not punishment. It's just, I'm not going to invent feedback, you know. So, let me know what's going on out there, you know. Let's figure it out. I want to thank all my new subscribers and everybody who has been patient with me. And I really don't want to talk about myself a whole lot. I'm getting better and stronger. I can see a path to personal victory. I just got to get there. But y'all be here with me along the way. It's Jason walking in shadow. Take it easy.